We're going to see very, very little of the normal rush hour because Christmas Eve is a Friday. There's not actually going to be that many people showing up for work, possibly not even you. And so, therefore, I will be looking at what's happening on the roads, in particular those fun spots of the M25, the M1, M6, and of course the M5 heading between Birmingham and Bristol. So there's going to be, there's going to be some tricky spots. I think it's actually going to be worse after Christmas when we all decide we're going to go shopping all at once. But of course, if you want to avoid the traffic, then it's just very easy, matter of going early or late, because otherwise people are all going to get up about sort of 8 or 9, and then all head off together. But I think I'm much more confident about the roads than I am about the railways.
Well, the trains, I mean, yesterday I was just going through the latest news. Almost every single network has got cancellations, delays or warnings of both. In part, really, not because of high passenger numbers, but because a lot of the staff have got coronavirus.
Oh, absolutely. And there are no high passenger numbers. I've done yesterday I went around the main London terminal stations. They were ghost towns, basically. But if you do need to get to or from London, then it's going to be tough. I'll get to the rest of the country in a minute, because you've got, for example, LNER, which runs on the East Coast Main Line. They've cut out a dozen trains between Leeds and London, 4 between Lincoln and London, because of train crew. Elsewhere on the network, Avanti West Coast making short-term cancellations on the route from London to West Midlands, North West England and southern Scotland. And that is repeated pretty much everywhere because, of course, there's a finite number of train crew, and if everyone is either sadly suffering from COVID or isolating because they've been in contact with somebody, then it is very messy. And then, well, talking about the whole country, there is one great train operator which unites the whole place from Aberdeen to Penzance, and that's cross country. And the RMT union has decided to go on strike on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, finish the year in style, eh? And that is exactly the last thing that the rail traveller and the rail industry needs.
What's that about?
Well, funnily enough, it's the role of guards. Oh, now, this dispute, yes, this has been dragging on pretty much since the birth of the railways. And the RMT union has, and I absolutely support everybody's right to strike, and they can very happily, as they have done for decades, exploit effectively their monopoly position and extract concessions from train operators who want to increase productivity, who want to improve customer service. And they're doing this. And, as far as the union's concerned, it's probably, we know how this goes. We go on strike and then they cave in. But I'm not sure, with the railways effectively under government control and an absolute collapse in fare revenue, that it's going to work this time, because they may just be overplaying their hands. The rail industry effectively needs Rishi Sunak to come up with £5 billion to make up for the shortfall in rail in ticket revenue. And if you've got everybody pulling together, I think he might be more inclined than if you've got the RMT saying, come on. Even though nobody in the rail industry unbelievably lost their jobs because of COVID, we still want to keep the old ways in operation.
There was a time where a railway strike would benefit airlines. I mean, how are they operating over Christmas?
Well, they're in a bit of a mess, frankly. Domestically, there's going to be an awful lot of people flying, particularly, of course, Northern Ireland, to and from there, between London and Scotland particularly. But the airlines are having a really tough time on a couple of fronts. First of all, they are having the same issues as every other industry. People testing positive for COVID, they can't work, they've got to isolate. On top of that, of course, the rules keep changing. Last weekend, we saw the French coming in with a travel ban, then the Germans coming in with a travel ban. The Austrians overnight have put in more complicated rules. And so the poor old traveller is just thinking, actually, I'll tell you what, I'll stay here. And this is continuing to wreck the airlines' finances at a time of year when they should really be making an absolute mint. It's normally the only profitable time of the entire winter.
It's going to be a busy few days. Is there any sense in which this shift to working from home means there will be less pressure on those specific days, Christmas Eve, because lots of people have been able to travel earlier and work at their sort of holiday destination from their desk already on holiday?
Oh, absolutely. We will see a lot of that on the roads, I think, and certainly on the railways. I mean, There's one train operator, Greater Anglia, which has basically just said, we're running fewer trains, not because our excellent staff have COVID, but because there simply aren't passengers. It would be ridiculous to run empty trains. So, I think in the new year we could well see some more scaling down, which is why for anybody in the rail industry it's really important to be absolutely at the top of their game. And anybody who's travelling, please, if you're frustrated because your train's been cancelled, you're going to be an hour late, it's all a complete mess, please be nice to the staff. The frontline staff in the railways have had a really tough time over the past couple of years, and they are doing their best.